We're about to get, or we are going to get into Champion Select for the 4th match of today.
Yeah, SuperMassive coming in 1-0 as the favorites. They've taken down Rampage against Direwolves 0-1, who lost their first game to Brazil. There's a lot to prove for both of these teams, but you think Direwolves a little bit hungrier.
They certainly are, and only one team can go into the next round here from Group A. SuperMassive, with that single win, are looking to try and storm ahead with 2 wins like you mentioned. Direwolves need to try and fight back as soon as they possibly can, but already have a couple of bans coming through for both these teams. Rumble and Ivan taken off the table as first pick potential for SuperMassive, whereas Ash and Graves have been banned out by the Direwolves.
Yeah, Chippy is formerly not a very good Rumble, has practiced it a ton and is now a ban-worthy champion from him. The Ivern shows that SuperMassive don't actually want to first pick it for themselves. They don't value it as highly as perhaps something like the Lulu that they would put a higher priority towards. Again, both bottom lanes have played the exact same champions of choice in their one respective games.
And with Varus being banned out as the final ban from SuperMassive, we're not going to see those very high utility bot lane 80 carries, and Shen is the final ban that gets taken away by the Direwolves. Instant first pick lock-in for SuperMassive will be the Caitlyn.
You have to wonder the Caitlyn over the Lulu. You would expect the Direwolves will see that and just immediately lock it in, prevent the Caitlyn Lulu lane from existing. This is actually a very good pick from the Direwolves, and SuperMassive a lot of priority on just the Caitlyn pick.
And it's one of Destiny's most played champions in the OPL. The Lulu pick was picked up throughout the grand finals, which propelled them to victory, and Schönfire actually locks in Lee Sin as his jungler of choice.
Yeah, Schönfire going for the aggressive champion of choice, of course. If he doesn't get the Ivern, he will default to something aggressive. Good to see Stomage actually matching that as well, and now we do have buff-to-buff junglers that may find each other and start fighting.
On top of that, SuperMassive have locked in Karma to round out their first pick phase for Dumbledoge's support.
Yeah, Caitlyn Karma definitely a strong lane, even with the Lulu taken away from Destiny in this case. There's still a lot of options there for Direwolves. It is curious, however, that they go for the Ezreal.
Yeah, King is known for his Ezreal play, but pairing them up one up with Lulu, not quite common at the moment.
And it's into a Caitlyn Karma, so they've given one of the hardest champions to actually get through laning phase on in the Ezreal to King, in a lane where we said they need to actually perform against their opponents. Is Zeitnot's the big carry of this team right now, the MVP of the TCL, needs to be respected. However, this just puts a lot more onus on Destiny on the Lulu.
And again, we already mentioned SuperMassive able to dominate their bottom lane with the Caitlyn in their last match, whereas Direwolves, they faltered in the bottom lane. First blood was picked up by the opposing support against Destiny, and from there on, the bottom lane was just sacked by the Direwolves.
Absolutely right. So as we move through these next respective bans, we're starting to see a bit of focus towards different lanes. No one has a single focus, even though the roles are shared. They just want to be careful, you know, get the roles of the champions that they want for themselves.
Yep, and with those bans, it's going to be Talia and Galio from the start of the Direwolves. Fabulous already had one game on that champion. Syndra and Kennen have been banned out by SuperMassive, and an instant lock-in of Fizz for Chippies in the top lane.
So they're locking the Fizz. Fabulous can default to something like a Gragas, which actually has a decent laning phase against the Fizz. There's a chance that, again, he has some kind of counter that he would like to play for himself respectively. So we'll have to keep our eyes on where SuperMassive want to go with their top lane, but they will have to reveal it in at least these next 2 picks, and that means they get a counter pick on the mid lane here, Direwolves, as well.
And SuperMassive have already shown what their mid lane pick is going to be. Naru will be picking up Orianna heading into this game. I believe it's the first time we've seen it this tournament. Has been a very popular pick in this meta.
One of those champions that can, again, augment the strength of your AD carry whilst also being able to carry yourselves. We don't have an assassin from that role or anything like that in particular, just a much more stock standard champion.
And finally, Nodus has been picked up despite his recent nerfs to his Riptide, as Fabulous will be taking that to the top lane.
And now remember last time that we saw SuperMassive, they played the Ivern, they played it super slow, they scaled around their AD carry, but this time around, they've gone for a much more standard team fighting type of composition, only marginal amounts of pick. It is all about protecting their team.
And finally, last pick for the Direwolves should be their mid lane pick for Fantix, unless we see a flex of the Fizz. It seems like he's going to lock in Azir as his champion of choice heading into the mid lane.
Fantix historically has been able to play pretty much every mid lane champion under the sun. He has been historically one of the best Azirs that we have seen within the Oceanic Pro League. So the fact that he's picking up now means that you're confident in his ability to play it, but you do have to highlight why he's going for the Azir in particular. Firstly, he's picked it into Orianna, so he's confident in the matchup because Orianna ramps up with her damage. Hits level 3, she shouldn't die, but she can't really kill you either. So the the Azir will be able to scale. And that is the one thing they now have with their team composition. It's not safe wave clear, but Azir does grant them wave clear nonetheless. Something to help them out if SuperMassive ever starts sieging.
But still a very different team composition from what we saw in their first match today. Now they don't have too many tools to protect King. They still have the Lulu, but a lot of frontline threat with the Fizz, with the Azir. And Fizz is one of those champions that has been wreaking havoc in the Oceanic Pro League.
Yeah, definitely has been. Even internationally, the Fizz has been cropping up a 90-something% win rate in the LPL as well. Just a massive deal through this top lane. Can snowball extremely well, but Nautilus is one of the champions that excels at actually diffusing Fizz's strengths. He has wave clear, he has shields, really hard to assassinate the Titan of the depths in the top lane, and you would expect Fabulous should be okay in his respective position, but you give Fizz an inch, she takes a mile.
But the big thing I'm going to be looking out for is Stormage against Schönfire here, because if Schönfire can get into that top lane, get Chippy's ahead by even a single kill, it's going to be almost impossible for Nautilus to get back into that game.
Yeah, absolutely right. So Schönfire, the man we look towards, as per usual for a Direwolves game, up against Stomaged, who isn't exactly the biggest carry for Supermassive, but he has the potential to go off, particularly with this Elise pick for himself.
Yeah, the old Turkish super team from the TCL have been looking good so far in their first match today. Let's see if they can continue to do that as we head into the second match for these two teams. Supermassive taking on the Direwolves.
Of course, fourth match of the day for these teams. For all of the teams, rather, in Group A in the MSI play-in stage. You wouldn't expect any tiredness to be seen from them just yet, only hunger.
And as always, to kick things off, both teams just going to try and spread out across the river, scout for some vision against the opposing team. But where are we really going to be looking towards here, Rusty, for these two teams? Is it going to be bottom side focus again for Supermassive? Are we going to see Direwolves trying to play more bot side this game?
I mean, the easiest way to actually watch where they want to put a bit of attention first is where the junglers tend to start the maps. And a lot of Elise, you know, on the red side of the map, they always go for their Raptors, but that means they don't get the best leash. So sometimes they like to vary it up, go towards their blue buffs. But as stock standard, you would expect from the Lee Sin into the Elise, they're going to try and just be on equal footing, be on the same side of the map as each other. A Supermassive just trying to check out where Schönfire is.
Yeah, it seems like Fabulous is going to get a late ward over towards the Raptor camp to see if that's where Schönfire will be starting off this game. No deep wards placed down by the Direwolves to kick this one off.
Now the first big thing as well, when we just mentioned the junglers, is going to come back to this bottom lane. King, Destiny, they don't have the push, they're against the Caitlyn Karma. It is unexpected they'll ever have priority in this lane. So Dumbledore will be free to roam, be free to place early vision at the blue buff of Schönfire if he wishes in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes from now, can find the Lee Sin. And nobody from Direwolves can find them.
And already Supermassive have pushing priority in this bottom lane and have chipped out both King and Destiny down to about half health.
Yeah, now the trick against this matchup as well is to use the minion waves, use the push. If King's ever auto-attacking you with a Lulu, he does do a lot of damage. It can match what a Caitlyn deals. That's why Karma is more important.
Obviously, we do move into the mid lane. See, Fantix has already pushed out the first lane nice and early, making sure Naru's forced to charm underneath his turret, but doing a good job at that. And they're just going to be trading back and forth to two control mages in the mid lane for this game.
And that's how we contrast this. You would expect the Azir, once again, just a hard push, try and get Naru at least busy under his turret, pressure him out constantly. As we mentioned, around level 3 is where things start to crop up a bit better for the Orianna. And so whilst the bottom lane should get pushed in from Direwolves, their mid lane should be okay. And so there is an area where Schönfire could potentially do something, or at least have someone who can rotate and help him if things go awry.
Speaking of Schönfire, he's just been invaded by Stomach, who's looking to try and take down blue buff for himself. Does have Smite available, and it's getting this blue buff down nice and low, while Schönfire is stuck at his wolf camp. That's going to be taken away. Stomach smites that one, and Schönfire loses his blue.
Schönfire is obviously going to be able to spot him doing it. Gets Cocoon.
Yeah, gonna land. Stomach still chasing on forward aggressively, but Schönfire does W back out towards a ward.
And so the Elise is now going to know exactly where Schönfire is able to get out, steal the blue buff away. Doesn't matter too much again, it's Elise in. And Schönfire is going to have the timing on that blue buff anyway. We'll just be able to do his Gromp, but it means he's missing a bit of experience, perhaps missing a camp now as time progresses towards the next respective buffs, as Stomach is still trying to find him.
Yeah, he was waiting in the wings of the mid lane, hiding inside the brush. As top side of the map, Chippy's, he's got Ignite Rune, but he's still chasing out that Fabulous. That's a flash being burnt by the Nautilus on the top side of the map.
It was a necessary flash. If the Fizz ever got in range with the Ignite, with W available, could have been a genuine kill threat, but nothing to be seen on the top side of the map. Just an early forced teleport, you would have to imagine, out of Fabulous. He can hold it if he wants to walk back to lane. The minions have just reset. He may want to.
With this pressure though, Schönfire is going to try and take away blue buff on Supermassive's side of the map. Stormmarch is going to come in, does get the smite down as well as the execute damage from the Q. Stormmarch is still chasing on 4, but Surnefire does have a slight experience advantage at the moment.
And it's safe to say, as the lanes progress through this, at only 4 minutes into the game, it's tit for tat with the junglers. They're trying to find each other. That's expected from both of them. Direwolves used to having winning lanes, used to having Surnefire be able to use those lanes to pressure jungle or pressure the rest of the map as he chooses. And the more that he's able to progress around the map, or the more Stormmarch is able to prevent him, that's where things break open.
As we can see, Stormmarch still waiting on the top side of the map. There is a teleport coming back in for Chippies with double Dark Seal. We do see Stormmarch trying to wrap around the back. Chippies does not have a flash due to taking Ignite in this match. Surnefire is close by, but he's trying to head back to base. He's still waiting very patiently in the top lane in case Chippies goes aggressive.
Almost looking for Surnefire more than for the gank itself. The Lee Sin was obviously on the top side of the map.
They should come out from Chippies, takes some damage here. Stormmarch going to lay down the hurt. Fabulous throws out the hook, but Playful Trickster gets him back to the safety of his turret.
Yeah, good Playful Trickster. Also has 2 Dark Seals, so a bit of extra sustain from his Corrupting Potion. Exactly. I'm not going to say it's a standard thing for a Fizz to have 2 Dark Seals, but it works in this instance, as he didn't die, didn't have to use anything. Was able to heal back up. Still
fairly even on the top side of the map. We do check in with the bottom lane again. King at a massive CS discrepancy, but mid lane is where the action is taking place. Naru taking on Fantix, both of them getting fairly low, and Stormmarch will make sure that he can't get anything out of it.
Whilst the trade was close, Fantix does have heal, so he had the advantage. He technically won the trade, but because Elise is nearby, that forces the equal recall, so no one actually wins the trade, except for Surnefire, who's able to continue hard farming the jungle where the Lee Sin wants to be.
King's gonna step on a track, takes so much damage. Arcane shifts out after all the damage has been dealt as well. Zagnot and Dumbledoge have been doing fantastically in this bottom lane.
Again, expected through draft, but also they are doing it. So it's safe to say they're performing well in the 2v2. They've got the momentum from their previous victory, and Zagnot on the Caitlyn has that momentum. They first picked it through the draft phase, so give me Caitlyn and I will carry.
Nice top side of map, Fabulous again being engaged upon by Chippies. Gets a grasp of the Undying proc there. That's Fabulous already down to half health with his double door on Ring.
That damage is dirty, Fish. Fizz is a nasty creature.
Certainly is, and Chippies playing him well, but Fabulous has stayed fairly even in CS. In fact, with a big wave pushing on towards his turret, might be able to creep ahead of Chippies.
Yeah, perhaps, and that's all the Nautilus really wants to do. The other big bonus that a Nautilus is meant to provide is the ability to clear waves. With the Riptide, of course, has a slight nerf on this patch, but he's staying at full mana anyway, choosing not to push those waves, not to fight Chippies, because perhaps it's that these junglers on the opposite side.
There's a collapse though, as that's actually Stormmarch clashing on towards Surnefire. Sorry, Fantix, who just scoops away and throws the ultimate at the Spiderlings. Thank you for the 10 gold. Now Destiny's going to try and turn Stormmarch into a critter, kicks him backwards. Elise being taken down. Surnefire picks up first blood.
Big rotation out of Destiny in particular. The ultimate was there. These two need to stop fighting so I can talk. Really good rotation out of Direwolves, honestly, as a 3-man unit. Nowhere to be seen is Dumbledoge on this Karma. If you've got a pushing lane, you're meant to be able to rotate around the map, but really good use of back timings to get the roam off.
And Surnefire now trying to creep around the backside of Fabulous outer turret. Instead, just takes away Gromp as King returns into the bottom lane to continue farming against Zagnot and Dumbledoge, who's still having a great bottom lane, about 20 CS ahead of the Ezreal.
And this is where Direwolves want to be. Contrasting this to their first game of the day, they were losing their lanes, their jungle was suffering, and the jungler of the Brazil side was just rotating around, making the lanes worse. Surnefire now 1-0, CS advantage, is in a strong position. The bottom lane's just utility anyway, they always have been. This is that opportunity for Direwolves to show their strengths, not just their weaknesses. But right now, we're looking at their weakness.
This is the first split that we've really seen the Direwolves have a very utility-focused bottom lane. King and Destiny were known to be big playmakers. Destiny's known for his Thresh. King known to play hyper carries to be really aggressive in lane, but now that they have Fantix and Chippies playing so aggressive in their solo lanes, they defaulted back into these utility picks, whereas Zagnot and Dumbledoge, they can do that too, but they're just so good in the lane itself.
And you know, most curiously, whilst we see Fantix get this blue buff, is that his opponent Naru has gone straight for Sorcerer's Shoes, which isn't your stock standard item build for an Orianna either. The reason you usually see, you know, a Lost Chapter or something for mana regeneration, go cooldown reduction or magic resistance if you're losing lane. But he's gone Sorcerer's Shoes. He wants the shockwaves that hit to be really meaningful at like the level 6 mark, at the level 7 mark, before they hit 11 and get completed items. Unfortunately for him, as the shockwave came out, there was no kill.
Still technically has an item advantage over Fantix, thanks to the fact that he only has his brown boots. Both of them have the double ring as well as the amplifying tome. We do see Stormmatch now moving down towards the bottom side of the map. King and Destiny still having difficulty farming in this lane as Dumbledore and Zaynot keep trading back and forth. Chippy
trouble.
Throws out the fish in the top side of the map. Fabulous gets knocked up. Ignite is still available, decides not to go deep underneath the turret. Maybe some flashbacks from his turret dive in the last match they played.
Yeah, has got the early sheen, so you can see the damage trades there favoring. However, on the bottom side of the map, they are looking for the structure. Again, the thing that took apart the direwolves. If they look for kills, their opponents are taking structures, taking objectives, beating them on that macro level.
Where's Shonefire waiting in the wings on the mid lane? There's the slide coming from Fantix. Knocks Oriana back in. The shockwave will pull Fantix into the turret range.
Teleports.
And the teleport's coming in. Stormmatch locks down Fantix. That's going to be the first kill for Supermassive. Shonefire's trying to hop, skip, and jump his way away. But the Spider's going to close on in and pick up a double kill for Supermassive.
And played excellently by Naru as well, able to get the shockwave off. That was a really aggressive choice from the mid laner and jungle of direwolves to try and actually go for the flash Azir ultimate, when Lee Sin was nowhere to be seen. He wasn't even on your screen. He had to come in as soon as he could, but that was too little too late. Naru had flash. Aggressive, but too aggressive.
Now Stormmatch looking to try and lock down Chippies, doesn't get the cocoon off, and on top of that, during that fight mid lane, Supermassive took down bottom lane out of turret.
Yeah, all that pressure. We get to see this one again in the mid lane as well. No Lee Sin. He's not here at all. Shows up, the Q comes out, but the flash timing was perfect. And again, bringing them under the turret. The collapse, the teleport also forcing a directional change with Damage here. They're able to lock down these kills. Fabulous, just by using the flash ultimate, there was no escape for Lee Sin.
So double kill picked up for the Elise, and Supermassive have a 1,000 gold lead over the Direwolves just 10 minutes into this match. King doesn't have a outer turret to fall back to anymore in this bottom lane, as Supermassive do rotate their bottom lane AD carry and support towards the top side of the map, keeping Fabulous down in the bottom lane to deal with King and Destiny.
They make the standard rotation after getting the bottom outer turret. However, Direwolves have not made that rotation. They're putting all of their eggs towards the bottom basket. They want to go for the turret themselves, zone away the Nautilus, keep him from the structure. Only has magic resistance, so he would still die to a gank from 3 people. And they want to perhaps race them for the turret trades because they've got the extra member hitting the structures. Smash is here though.
Yep, Stormmatch going to continue helping Zaynot as well as Dumbledore's push towards the top side of the map. Now moving in towards the top lane inner turrets. Chippies wants to go for a dive onto Naru, avoids the fish, still goes in for the dive. Ignite is ticking. Shockwave not going to connect as Fantix only gets knocked back. Chippies still hunting down the Oriana, will be able to get the Q off, chases them down, picks up a kill in the mid lane.
But meanwhile, pushing the top lane, Supermassive, exactly where they were a minute ago, are just going to take down the second structure again. Chippies comes mid, looks for the kill. Not a bad call because the kill is secured, but Supermassive are still pushing these objectives. It's just that they're too slow to make the rotation or a reaction to the play that the Turkish side are putting into play. They're getting trades, but it's not the same amount.
And that's a 2-for-1 turret trade that goes in favor of Supermassive. Yes, they lose a kill in the mid lane, and potentially a Cloud Dragon, as Shonefire sneaks this one away from Supermassive. But not the best of Elemental Dragons to get in a 2-for-1 turret trade.
For what it's worth, they get the Drake at a decent time in the game where Supermassive can't bring their bottom lane from what was top lane back towards the Drake, pick up the free objective. Naturally, you expect them to go near mid lane, but this is where Direwolves can say, all right, you've got all of our outer structures. The next ones are harder to actually take down. We're just going to push top lane. We'll build up a big enough wave that we can secure the turret itself, and then we'll try and make the big play. But we have to highlight how Supermassive are going to try and counteract that. Who are they bringing up to top lane? Oddly enough, it is Naru.
So Naru will be trying to farm up against King and Destiny, who are still pushing top side of the map. Zaynot and Dumbledore have been brought into the lane with the final outer turret that's remaining for the Direwolves. Try and continue sieging the outer objectives, increase the turret lead that Supermassive already have.
Now, they do still have Fantix in this middle lane. Has got a lot of wave clear. Zaynot and Dumbledore have to pressure the Azir, not the minion waves, if they want to actually secure the mid lane structure. So Direwolves, they have an opportunity, a chance to make a play. It will be completely under the watching eye of Supermassive, but the play is still there.
Direwolves will rotate quite a few members towards the top side of the map. Shonefire sitting inside the jungle, lands a Q on towards Zaynot. Spots out the rest of Supermassive waiting inside of their own blue side of the jungle.
Notices a small army. Still looking for things to happen here, though. Working around the explosive plant, really easy way to escape for both Destiny and Shonefire.
There you go, jumping back over the wall as King still gets some chip damage onto the top lane outer turret.
Which again is just free damage that they're able to secure for themselves. So Supermassive
Chippies trying to throw out the fish there. Gets a ghost out of Naru, but avoids the kill threat from the fist.
Still has no flash, however, so Shockwave is on. I don't think it'll mean too much.
Very aggressive Shockwave. Gets Fancy and Showfire down to a quarter of their health and saves the turret. As now Fabulous from Fog of War onto Fantix. Tries to slide them back out. Will take quite a bit of damage. Wildgrowth keeps him alive.
Yeah, you can't kill him through the heal and the Lulu. Able to stay alive. However, this does mean the pressure's going to be there from Supermassive. They're looking at the mid lane.
Yeah, they're going to continue pushing on forward. Dumbledore has been jumped on by Shernfire, who tries to safeguard away from the tether range. Still gets locked up. Flash being burnt by Dumbledore, but Supermassive have used that time to chip away at mid lane out of turret, and they take it down.
Exactly, so the only remaining outer turret does drop. They've got themselves 2 top lane, 1 bottom lane. The map is pretty much theirs if you were Supermassive, and this is where the vision game actually becomes the biggest deal for both of these teams. Direwolves, easier job warding their own jungle, but there's a lot more room to breathe for Supermassive. Place them wherever they'd like, and it starts to choke the Direwolves roster out.
And for the second time today, we see the Direwolves facing across from a gold deficit 15 minutes into the match, where Supermassive, they were the ones that were behind against Rampage. They must be feeling really confident coming to this game 15 minutes in, ahead of the Direwolves.
Definitely, but you still look at the Direwolves team composition and say they are well and truly in with a shot. The scaling on that team is unreal. They've got the Lee Sin, who helps get them through the early game at least a little bit. They hit mid-game, 2 items on the Azir, 2 items on the Ezreal is always going to be a big spike, but most importantly, the Fizz for Chippies. He's able to assassinate what was the hard carry of Supermassive in their first respective game of this tournament, which is the Caitlyn. Has the Ignite, not a lot's actually going to keep him alive because it's an Elise this time around. There is no Ivo.
He's still sitting on a couple of components here, Chippies. The Double Dark Seal, the Sheen, as well as the Spectre's Cow. So it will be some time before August. That's stolen. That was stolen by Double Doge with the empowered Q right under the nose of both Shernfire and Chippies.
They tried to burst it out. They could have just let the Carver Q finish before bursting it out. But there you go. Double Doge picks himself up some mana regeneration, some cooldown reduction, and a fancy looking buff on his back.
With that, Supermassive continues sieging more inner turrets. Stormage and Zaytnot won't be able to poke down the bottom lane inner turret as King and Destiny do what they can, but King's been locked out. Wildgrowth forced to be used. Arcade shift away, but it's not enough. Zaytnot takes it down. Meanwhile, mid lane, Fantix in trouble, flashes away, not enough. Clockwork wind up into his face, gets a kill.
Shernfire.
And they're looking for more. Shernfire will try and kick them away. Tags Naru, flashes over the wall, gets a shield. But look at Starmarch all the way into the back lines. Will get exhausted, goes toe to toe. Fabulous jumps in, picks up a kill for himself. And Supermassive are looking incredibly strong.
Supermassive looking fantastic, but Direwolves just individually getting caught out of position. Mid lane 1v1, Naru shows that he is still a big carry for this team. Takes apart Fantix in this 1v1. We get to see how it unfolds. That was close from Fantix, to say the least, but the Shockwave whilst in midair actually sends him flying. Again, Fabulous cancels the ward hop, which is why Shernfire is now stuck in this position, has to flash. Stormage, she does go in. The exhaust is nice to get them a turnaround kill, if nothing else from the Direwolves side. Shernfire gets another bit of gold in his pocket. Direwolves have not got gold anywhere else.
They certainly have not. Only traits that have completely been going in the favor of Supermassive so far, who sit on a nice and comfortable 3,000 gold lead over the Direwolves. 5 turrets to 2 in this game, 5 to 3 in kills. And Supermassive seem to be the most proactive team in this match so far.
Definitely. Fantix on this Azir just not showing up as much as you would like from him on the champion. A lot of the pressure, all the shields, even the dueling out of Orianna is starting to just whittle him down more and more. But we still can't count that team out. You look towards Chippies, he's farming well. That's one thing that Direwolves are doing. It's just that they're dying. They're getting caught out in these fights. They're losing the duels, but they are farming. They're still getting towards their big item breakpoints.
Second elemental dragon of the game is going to spawn. There's going to be another cloud dragon. You see Direwolves are looking to try and set up around that river, but could quickly taken back by Supermassive.
Yeah, clear out the wards. Troll wards on the top side, so Direwolves are not going to go near this Drake at all, even though they can see it being done. They have to concede.
Yep, Supermassive get another small objective for themselves. There'll still be a couple more elemental dragons to spawn in this game. Cloud is another one will spawn next year, Rusty.
We're only seeing clouds. NA Drakes. Not going to mean too much, you'd have to imagine. There's nothing super move speed reliant for both of these teams. A bit of kiting from the Fizz, doesn't have flash, that'll help him.
Whereas now, 18 minutes into the match, Baron is going to be spawning soon. It's still very early for either team to look towards that objective, unless something horribly goes wrong for either side. But Direwolves are positioning around that side of the pit, whereas SuperMassive moving more towards the bottom side of the map. Naru actually staying in Fog of War as he looks to try and clear out the top lane wave, and is pushing quite aggressively for the Direwolves. They're fighting in this mid lane.
Top lane. They've got Nautilus bottom who's rotating up now, so this is a window of opportunity for Direwolves to go for a turret or make a play if they choose. Oriana's still not going to be nearby.
Oh, Chippy's going to be able to avoid the cocoon, finds Fabulous, throws out the shark, knocks them both up with the wild grove. Stormage in trouble, King gets a kill. Churnfire is very low, but Fabulous is low as well. Churnfire going in, kicks him away, but still lives. Naru, though, deep into the backlines, gets the triple kill. Will be taken down by Chippies as Fairtix still looking to try and push for more, but Supermassive again, they trade 2 for 3.
Supermassive still trade well without Naru being there at the very beginning. A triple kill for the Oriana, but that's still the signs of life we're talking about from the Direwolves. Catching Supermassive sleeping, making the most out of it, still getting a turret trade at the end of the day, actually in their favor, whilst they get all of these kills. It's a big fight from Naru. We will get to see what the Oriana actually breaks out here. But firstly, the fish hitting with the Lulu combo. Chippies is completely indomitable, and Churnfire tries his best to assassinate Zeitnot, but kicking him away living. Close, not enough. Naru steps up to the plate, aggressively going in. Good shockwave, and trying to pick it up the slack of his team.
In the middle of the chaos, still able to jump straight into the backlines of the Direwolves, knowing that he can take down Churnfire as well, who was so close to killing Zeitnot, who jumped in so aggressively into the backlines as well.
That's where the karma comes to play. Too many shields. The heal also was there for the Caitlyn. Enough summoners to keep him alive through the burst, but there is a lot of damage still coming out of the Direwolves roster onto carries if they can get those carries, and that's how that fight broke out.
There certainly is. Chippies has already completed his Trinity Force top side of the map, still has 1 Dark Seal with half its stacks available. Nash of Swift completed as well for Fantix. King has gone for the Blade of Ruin King into the Man Immune. So decent damage coming out from the walls, but you look at the side of Supermassive, they've got some damage to pack as well. Infinity Edge, Hurricane already picked up. Stormage going to try and lock down Churnfire, repels away from the fish, comes back down after it props. Chippy still going deep into the back lines, but there's so many members of Supermassive there. That was a mistake.
You do not want that, Mr. Chippies. Now the whole team fighting.
That Fabulous though jumps in. Churnfire takes him down. Riptide going to get cancelled after the Nautilus will die. Supermassive still chasing for more, but at the end it's just top laners being traded back and forth.
Yeah, Chippies was deep, but suddenly Fabulous was also too deep. The flank position changed, and what was meant to be the flank became the front line. Caught out of position. Direwolves still want this inside track. They still want mid lane, and they are basically just bringing out the good old-fashioned Oceanic ARAM against Supermassive.
Yeah, Fantix already put down a turret in the mid lane to make sure that Supermassive can't push out too efficiently or fight them close deep inside of their base. Churnfire decided to go away from the team and is farming up the rest of his jungle. But the Direwolves are trying to claw back some of the gold lead that Supermassive have taken in this game, but it's still 2,500 gold in Supermassive's favor.
The amount of gold that they are in advantage, however, for the Supermassive side is indicative of the 2 turrets that they've actually managed to pick up for themselves. So Direwolves have brought it back to a little bit closer. However, when you look at the items that are coming through from the Supermassive side, 2 Haunting Geysers, it's going to be a Leandri's that goes towards Naru's Oriana build. All of this flat magic penetration against a team that has actually got a lot of MR. Starts to wear off in efficiency very quickly, but the Baron, that gets shredded.
They've got no vision on this. Supermassive get it down to 2,500 health. Teleport is going to come in from Chippy. Churnfire says, I'm going to try and take it if you're going to back off. 1,700 health. Chippy's in the back line. Churnfire taking it. He jumps in. Taken away by Oriana. Supermassive get Baron. They take down Churnfire as well.
And as if Naru could not carry any harder, he secures the Baron for his team one more time. Supermassive. They took the 50-50, but they only took it because Direwolves said, let's dance. And they jumped inside the pit, wanted an opportunity to fight them for it, does not secure it.
Supermassive cleared out the Baron pit, waited so patiently, and when they knew the Direwolves had no vision, weren't going to react, pulled the trigger. Naru, like you mentioned, putting his team on his back today, Rusty.
It definitely is. Of course, we get to see how this one pans out against Churnfire. I'm going to say went in a bit too quickly, but he wanted to keep the Baron aggro, wanted to keep his health low. Chippies tries to time his auto attack at the same time, but it was about 100 health off, so unfortunately, neither of the junglers secure it with smites being down.
102 hit points away from being smoked by either team here. And SuperMassive with a 5,000 gold lead, and Baron Buff are going to look to try and cripple the structures that are remaining outside of the Direwolves base. They still have an inner turret in the mid lane to take down, as well as the bottom lane.
And that's just such a big advantage for both carries on the side of SuperMassive. 2,000 gold advantage for both of them against each of their respective opponents. All of the kills going to the Orianna, even though the farm was there for Fantix. They're just so strong right now. If the team can support them, Fabulous on the Nautilus can just stand in front of them, be indomitable as this Naut. Samaj can just protect his team, and Karma's always going to do that. Yep,
SuperMassive will use their Baron Buff effectively to take down the mid lane inner turret, now pushing for even more as the inhibitor is under siege. Zeitnot so close to completing his second Zeal item of the game. Should be a rapid fire cannon or a static shiv. But he's been impressive this entire tournament. Was the MVP for his team in the finals. And he's looking to continue to assert his dominance against every single team in Group A.
Yeah, again, it should be the rapid fire cannon, the standard Caitlyn build. He's gone for the Infinity Edge build, though, not the Blade of the Ruined King. A bit more crit, scaled up well.
Fabulous looking for an engage towards Fantix. Misses the hook. Two-shot barrage comes out from King, just trying to clear up the Baron up minions.
And the way that Fantix deals with this is by finding Zeitnot. If he can actually find the carry that kills the structures, then SuperMassive can't actually break the base. But if they don't get onto him, turrets will drop.
However, SuperMassive, they've already chipped down the mid lane inhibitor turret to half health, keeping their siege minion alive. And they'll slowly push on in. There was a big wave bottom that pushed on towards the turret. Schoenfire gets locked down and poked out to about 2/4 of his health.
But Zeitnot also gets halved once again by the Azir, but two cannons building up.
And Redemption coming out. There was a Q connecting from Schoenfire, but decided not to
going for it.
This is going to be inhibitor turret broken by SuperMassive, and they engage onto Schoenfire as well, locking him down with every single piece of crowd control they have. Ignite is ticking. Schoenfire gets healed up by King in the back lines as Direwolves won't lose their members and are looking to engage themselves. Fish gets thrown out by Chippies. He dives into the back lines. Playful Tricksters away. Big mistake because Fabulous is here and King is now being chased upon. Fantix is dead. The Orianna Shockwave will take him down, and the Direwolves are faced with SuperMassive crashing on towards the base.
And easy as you'd like, it looks like they just want to finish the game.
They want to go 2-0 in this group. Direwolves want to try and fight back. It's not going to happen here today. SuperMassive want to end this game. Schoenfire jumps in, tries to do something, but he just can't. King will be taken down as well. 4 kills picked up by SuperMassive, a double kill for Zeitnot, and they will go 2-0 here in the group stage.
26-minute shellacking out of the SuperMassive side, able to dismantle the Direwolves when you hit mid-game. All it comes down to is that 5v5 team fighting, the Baron buff being secured, and nothing was going to slow them down.
And again, from start to finish, it just looked like SuperMassive, they had control. Yes, there were signs of life from the Direwolves, but it just wasn't enough in any way, shape, or form to try and even contest SuperMassive here.
Honestly, you need more consistent signs. You can't just have them sporadically popping up here and there. They want to get these victories. They've shown that they have what it takes to get them, but SuperMassive just look better.